Hello, 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 everybody. How you guys doing today? I pray you're doing well. No, sorry. Hello, hello, everybody. How you guys doing today? I pray you're doing well. I sure do. And welcome to the Bible, block by block. Today is day 73. For day 73, we're gonna be reading Israel in Egypt. That is Genesis 1. Let us begin. Now, Israel suffering in Egypt. Now, these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. Each man in his household came with Jacob, Reuben, Simeon, Levite, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Then Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. All those who were descendants of Jacob were 70%, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brothers and all their generation. But the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, multiplied and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. And he said to his people, "Look, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply." And it happened in the event of war that they also join our enemies and fight against us. And so go up out of the land, and therefore they put taskmaster over them to afflict them with their burdens, and they build for Pharaoh supply cities. Peter and Ramses, but the more they afflict them, the more they multiply and grow. And they were in dread of the children of Israel. So the Egyptians make made the children of Israel serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar, in bricks, and in all manners of service in the field. All the services in which they made themselves was with rigor. Then the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of one was Shepherd and the name of the other Poa, and he said, "When you do the duties of midwife for the Hebrew woman, and see them on the gravestones, if it is a son, then you shall kill it. But if it is a daughter, then she shall live." But the midwife feared God, and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive. So the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said to them, "Why have you done this thing, and saved the male children alive?" And the midwives said to Pharaoh, "Because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are lively and give birth before the midwives came to them." Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. And it was so, because the midwives fear God, that he provide household for them. So Pharaoh commanded all the people, saying, "Every son who is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive." All right. So we finished reading that part. I would love to read you guys a couple more. It's just a historical facts. Start with beliefs and idea. Egypt idea about death. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry for that. Just I was double checking something, making sure I'm not reading the wrong thing to check my historical fact, right? But anyway, believing ideas. Egypt idea about death and the afterlife emphasize preserving the dead body from decay. The climate of Egypt is very dry, and the Egyptians were able to preserve bodies by drying them completely. This a day by buried them. Oh, I did that already. By the natural and then okay. All right. Let's go to epoch three. You know the Bible is multiple epoch, right? There's a first epoch in the Bible that is before, like from creation all the way to Noah. There's the first epoch. Even that first epoch has different timeline. There's a time before time. There's creation. There's the fall. There's Adam and Eve. And there's the descendants, which you get Enoch and all that stuff. And then you get Noah. That's from Epoch 1. All those different timelines there. Epoch 2 have only three timelines basically. It's right after Noah, you get the first timeline. It is bit Noah and all the stuff like that until you get to Abraham. You get a second timeline, which is the timeline with the patriarch, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Third timeline, which is basically Samic timeline, which is what happened after the Israelite movement. It was between 400 years, and then right to Moses. That's the third timeline. That is from Epoch 2. No, that's from Epoch 2. How do I say Epoch 3? My bad. Anyway, that's from Epoch 2, right? Now we're going to start Epoch 3. Epoch 3, I believe, is between Moses and the first king. I might be wrong. It might be between Moses and then when Israelite become a nation. Not become a nation. Find the land and settle in the land. I will have to double check on that. But yeah, I believe it's between that and the first king. Again, I might be wrong. It might be between Moses and when they settle in the promised land. So I have to double check on that. And then come back to you guys later on in another video or something. But for now, let's start epoch 3. You start with Moses. That's the first epoch. Between Moses in his first 40 years in Egypt, his second 40 years out of Egypt, and his third 40 years leading the Israelite. Then, after the Israelites settled, I mean, that's the first timeline. And then keep going. All the first timeline start at when they cross the river. Let's keep reading. I feel like I am not prepared for today's reading. But anyway, let's read Epoch 3. The rise of a unified people. God miraculously delivered his people from the hand of the strongest nation of that day. This dramatic event will forever be proof that the Israelites were God's people. Between 1500 to 1200 BC, the Exodus marks the beginning of Israel as a people. The patriarchs were at most an extended family rather than a people. Most such families undoubtedly moved to Egypt either because of famine or because of the migration of people. All over the Middle East, when a dynasty of strong pharaohs returned to power, these foreigners were oppressed and put to forced labor. The escape of a large band of these slaves under the leadership of Moses was a new beginning for the Israelites. Their experience in the year of wandering in the wilderness, along with the great covenant concrete at Mount Sinai, began to mold them into both a distinct religious entities, and the nucleus of a nation. I think that's when the second timeline stopped after they get anyway, session. Talk about that later. But anyway, began to mold them. The entry into Canaan and the struggle to maintain separate identities in the face of cultures and religious division strengthens a sense of being a people. Archaeologists in the past. The oldest written record of significance for Palestine came from the late Bronze Age, 1500 to 1200 BC. The Amorite later were part of the royal archive of Amenhotep IV, also known as Akhenaten, 1352 to 1336 BC. Akhenaten was more interested in religious reform than in foreign policy. He abandoned original activities in Palestine to pursue the introduction of monotheism based on the worship of the sun god Aten. Acadians' disinterest in administrating the Egyptian empire resulted in turmoil and civil war in Palestine, and the Amanat letter reflect these disorders. For the stabilizing influence of the Egyptian military, the king of the city-states were increased their own power at the expense of their neighbors. These were also raided by the people called the Hebrew. Many of the Amoran letters appeal to the Pharaoh for aid against the incursions of this Hebrew, or the written from the late Bronze Age reflect the time of Egypt power on inscriptions of Meripah, who ruled Egypt from 1213 to 1203 BC. Includes the first mention of Israel in Egypt documents. Meripah commemorates his victory over the Libyan and other foreigners, boasting that all people of Asia had submitted. One line read, Israel is laid waste, his seed is not. That later on. Remember that. Anyway, the people and groups. Early in this period, Egyptians' army marched through Palestine into Syria, where they clashed with the Hurrians of Mitinani in modern Iraq. The greatest political accomplishment of the Hurrian was the Mitanni Empire, which ruled Assyria and later until the region of Shalmaneser the First of Assyria, that is 1273 to 1244 BC. They were even more important culturally, with a region founded from Assyria to Asia Minor to Egypt. Later, in the Late Bronze Age, these were war between Egyptians and the Hittites of the Anatolian, modern Turkey. The Hittite Empire captured towns in regions such as Ugari and Amuru from under Egypt control. Hostile with the Egyptians erupted against during the reign of Pharaoh Ramses II, that is, between 1279 to 1213 BC, who fought in the Hittite to the stalemate in Syria and kept Palestine under Egyptian rule. Around 1200 BC, the Hittite power collapsed, partly because of the attack by the sea people of the Agarigan and the rise of Assyria. The two ethnic or political groups played role in Israel history during the Late Bronze Age: the Midianite and the Canaanite. The Midianites lived in the northern Arabia along the Gulf of Aqaba. They were shepherds, but also copper miners and traders. Moses fled to the land of Midian, where he married into the family of Jethro, a priest of Midian. Much later, a related tribe of Midianites were involved in the Israelite worship of Baal of Peor. The ancient led to hostilities between Israel and Midian during the time of Moses. The Canaanite were the inhabitants of Palestine, west of the Jordan of the time of Joshua's invasion. They are first mentioned in inscriptions of Amnoret and also in the Amman letter originally. The term probably applied either to a Union military aristocratic or a class merchant. By the time of Joshua, the Canaanites were a mixed group of people. In the Old Testament, the term Canaanite sometimes refers to all the people who live in the west of Jordan. Other times, the term is restricted to a foreign nations who live along the coast. Let's stop right there for a minute. We'll do us later on the next video. But for now, let's stop right here. All right. Thank you guys for being here. We're going to happy for you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.